Hey yo! Hello everyone, this is Peter once again on Lecho. This time, and I know it's been a while since my last video, but this time we're going to do a dungeon naked. Some of you may know that the request was actually to do at least 2 dungeons, but I'll be doing one more, just not at the moment. Now here we have Lecho. He's in the nude, well, apart from his weapons. Because that was the challenge. I had to do dungeons, and I had to do them with all items unequipped except my weapons. So I signed up for a random group this time, and it pops, and I hop in, and it's Uldaman. I have to admit that when Uldaman popped, I was kind of sad about that because it's such a long dungeon. It turned out to be so, but it turned out really, really well, and if I have to say so myself, pretty fun. And here we have the first example of that. The tank wants me to put on my gear, so I answer him. And I'm very, very serious about this. You know, I'm in my role-playing mood. So that's kind of what I wrote. And then our healer joins the fray, so to speak. Tells me that it's not funny at all. I do need to put my gear on to boost DPS. I mean, they probably haven't seen my videos. I mean, I suppose they might have, but I really doubt it. So they think I'm just running around noobing, you know. But in fact, I am making a video. Video is serious business. And it's about this time that I look at the DPS meter, and I realize that I'm actually top DPS. I'm even above the tank, you know. I don't know if you guys experience the same thing, but tanks in most dungeons, in most non-cataclysm dungeons, are actually the ones who's doing top DPS. Now, here we have Revelash. He's the first boss in Uldaman, at least for Alliance. I believe the dwarves in one of the previous rooms are the first bosses for the Horde. But this is the first boss for the Alliance, and this is about the time where things start to get pretty funny, if you ask me. As you see, the tank is actually having his back to 2 of the mobs, which makes him incapable of dodging or parrying the attacks from those mobs. So I tell him not to stand with his back to them. But he doesn't really take it all too well. By the way, pro tip, watch this video. Don't just have it running in the background while you're playing World of Warcraft or whatever game you're playing or whatever you're doing. Watch the video, because that way you'll pick up on a lot more of the funny stuff than if you just hear me talking about it. And now the tank asks me to please, kindly, if I could restrain myself from talking any further for just 1 minute. He would be very, grateful. I, in turn, respond to him that I haven't been talking for a whole minute. But the tank doesn't appreciate that, as you'll see in a moment. Wait for it. You still annoying. Oh, that hurt my feelings. But I just respond that although I may be annoying, I am very, very pro, as the damage meter suggests. The healer, however, our druid, she comes to the rescue of the tank again. I mean, tanks, healers, they have this special bond. They both need each other. She asks me to just shut up, and one of the, I believe the warlock, asks me if I'm pro at being annoying, and I respond, in truth, I'm pro at everything. But these guys just won't get off my back, so the tank tells me I'm not pro at DPSing. So I link him the damage meter, I'm number 1, and he goes, fuck! And for added effect, he writes it again in caps. Fuck! And our healer goes, what the fuck? And I allow myself to utter a small giggle. And that obviously puts an end to that discussion. So we fight our way through these mobs, and one of the guys summons the boss, Ironia. And Ironia must feel a pang of shame by being taken down by a naked rogue. With support from 4 other people. Don't get me wrong, I'm in no way a one-man army in this dungeon. I mean, I couldn't do it without the other guys. But I do find it pretty hilarious that I'm naked apart from my weapons, and I still managed to out DPS every one of them. Well, anyway, the dungeon crawl continues. Or a dungeon crawl? A dungeon crawl, is that, doing a dungeon or doing a ton of dungeons? Oh well, either way, we continue through the dungeon. And as we're making our way towards the 4th boss, I believe, the ancient, I don't know. The healer tells the tank to listen to me, and he asks why, and I respond, because I'm pro. I mean, why else? So I see a locked chest, and I decide this is a good way to exhibit my abilities. So I tell them I'm pro at opening chests, so I open the chest, It turns out they were actually talking about a discussion we had earlier about which way to go to complete the quests, and it's actually the healer that's got it all wrong. As he whispers me, tell him to go the other way, and I tell him, well, there is actually a quest here with the ancient obsidian, whatever, ancient stone keeper. There it is, that's its name. So we take down the ancient stone keeper. Pretty easy. I mean, most of the low level dungeons are actually pretty easy. I really enjoy the challenge this time, do it naked, because it gives, I know it might offend some of the people in groups with guys like me, but it gives us something to talk about and something to entertain, to entertain each other with, instead of just mindless dungeon grinding and leveling. But anyway, after killing off Galgan Firehammer, who must be the 5th boss or so, I believe, after we kill him off, the tank simply leaves. He says, "See ya," and he leaves. And I get all sad, because he left us. And that's when one of the other party members leaves as well. So we sign up for more people to join our group, and while we're waiting, something kind of funny happens. The healer, who's the dungeon guide right now, who were actually pretty mad at me earlier, promotes me to the dungeon guide. The naked rogue gets to lead the party. After about a couple of moments, we get a new tank and a new DPS, or deeps, as some people like to say, and they spawn on top of me because I was the dungeon guide. And as you can see, they're kind of surprised. Who is our brave, glorious leader? Why isn't he wearing any armor? The paladin gives us a reluctant thanks, because it's kind of suspicious. What kind of group is this where the party leader is naked? And I would like to point out that he is in fact a paladin, although he has a male, the male heirloom undershoulders on. But this time it goes awry. Our new tank gets overzealous, and he charges the boss, the sixth boss, Grimlock, while having a pack of mobs on him already. And the healer is kind of slow because he went out of line of sight, so he doesn't get him healed properly, and the tank unfortunately dies. Even despite my best efforts at interrupting the boss's attacks. And here we go. He goes whoops, and I go oh, as the rest of our party falls before the Trog's onslaught. The healer runs away, the warlock attempts to take out the boss, the paladin attempted to stand his ground as well, and in an attempt to relieve the tension in this newly formed group, I call out, "Noob Hunter!" The funny thing, or you may find it funny, is that we don't have a hunter in this group. So we die, we wipe, I release, and here we are, giving it another go. The tank's learned his lesson. He starts out by taking this mob out, and then proceeds to the boss. The paladin then asks me, "Rogue, why aren't you wearing any armor?" And I actually don't notice it at this point. I'm too busy, being top DPS. And that's when I noticed the sad thing. I'm not top DPS anymore. The tank has gotten in, the new tank, and the new tank is just a DPS machine, He does so much more damage than me, and it kinda sucks for me. It's at this moment that I realized the errors of my ways by linking DPS to the previous tank and by sort of mocking them in this video for doing less DPS than a naked rogue. How could I? Never mind. At this point I look at my chat log, and when I get back I see that he asks if I wouldn't be even better with gear on, and I just reply to him that he will not find me wanting. That wasn't accidental caps lock, by the way. As we're moving on in this dungeon, I'd like to remind you guys that you're very, very, very welcome to leave a comment on this video, giving me ideas, suggestions for what to do in the next video. I mean, don't get me wrong, the next video will be the second dungeon I'll be doing naked. But additional input is always welcome. As you see, I actually dinged this dungeon, and they go, "Congratulations!" and I thank them from the bottom of my heart. When the festivities are through, we enter this here room, and another tip here, the 4 stonekeepers you have to fight in here, they explode when they die, so everyone but the tank needs to be away from them when they explode, unless you're strong enough, have enough HP and all that, to just simply take the damage, and the healer can just heal you up. Deeper and deeper we descend, fighting our way through hordes of earthen and golems, or golems, however you want to pronounce it. And finally we arrive at the final battle. That's an Easter egg for any of you guys who might have been playing the House of the Dead series. If you know what I'm referring to, just leave that in the comments below. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, go to YouTube. Well, you are watching this on YouTube. Just when this video is done, search for Goldman House of the Dead, and you'll understand. Another tip: once the boss is dead in Uldaman, don't just leave unless you're here for this, unless you've been here before. Go to the back for the quest line that the discs give you. It's free experience points. And on top of that, it's kind of cool lore. But anyway, that was it for this time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be bringing out a new video in a while. Until then, I'm out of here.